All right, you guys. So I am really feeling moved to speak about ayahuasca because ayahuasca is becoming such a trend. It is becoming so popular these days, not just in the new age, but I'm seeing celebrities talk about it. I'm seeing so many people promote it as something that can be like the one thing that you have to do in order to fully heal, and that it's just like this magical pill that's just going to fix all your problems. And I can say from personal experience that that is not true. And there is so much darkness going on and so much deception going on inside of this space, this ayahuasca space. And I want to tell you about it because I don't want you to have to go through what I went through and what so many other people went through. And the thing is that ayahuasca has a demonic spirit attached to it. A lot of the times people talk about, having these experiences where they encounter this like motherly figure, or all of these different like entities come and visit them, and all of that stuff. Like, you might be listening to those stories and think, oh no, that's not real, that's not happening. But I can tell you that those things are happening, and the spiritual realm is real, you guys. Just because it's happening in the spiritual realm, though, doesn't mean that it's good. And the way that demonic entities work, they don't just show up as like, straight up in your face, like I have the horns and the red face and the pick thing that he holds. Like, it's not just like a stereotypical demon where it's obvious that it's a demon. Demons masquerade as angels of light. That is what it says in the Bible, and that is very much so true as what happens in these ceremonies. And so just because there's a being that's coming to you in an ayahuasca ceremony that's like this motherly figure, this grandmother spirit that appears to be very loving, very friendly, that doesn't mean that that's actually who it is. And the Bible tells us to test the spirits. And it is so important to recognize that just because a spirit tells you that it is like whoever it is, we shouldn't believe that spirit just based off of what it says. And in order for the demonic realm to get you to, really come into agreement with the demonic realm, it has to give you a little piece of what that you want. And so, demons can promise you all sorts of things that you want. They can offer to give you everything that you want in this world. And the same is true with the demonic entities that are behind the ayahuasca spirit, that are inside of these ayahuasca ceremonies. You oftentimes in an ayahuasca ceremony, you throw up, you purge, and that is actually an offering to the demonic realm. You give this offering, and in exchange, you get a temporary sensation of being healed. And in the demonic, there has to be this sort of exchange. And in order to get you to come back, they have to give you a false idea that you're healing in some way. And so sometimes you'll come out of these ceremonies, you feel lighter, you feel better. But how long does that actually last? Is that the everlasting peace that God promises us? Because it's very different. It may feel like it's peaceful, it may feel like it's good, it may feel like it's helping you, but check back in a year, check back in 6 months, check back in 3 years from now, and ask yourself, did that healing actually last, or was it only temporary until it was time to do the next ceremony? Because a lot of the times what happens with this is you think it's going to heal you, and you have this profound experience. You feel like you let go of all this trauma. You purge all of this stuff out, which is actually just an offering to the demonic realm. In exchange, they give you a false, temporary feeling of healing so that you can go out and feel like, oh my gosh, this just fixed so much. I just realized so much about my trauma, about my childhood, and I'm healing all of this stuff now, and I feel so much better. But then few days later, a few weeks later, a few months, maybe even a few years later, you have that trauma come back. You have that pain point get pushed on again because it didn't actually last. It wasn't actually a miraculous healing like what God can give us. It was a false healing. It was a temporary relief. And then you have it come back, and then you're convinced at this point, because you made an exchange with that demonic realm, that now it's time for you to come back to your next ceremony. And now you're feeling the calling of the ayahuasca spirit to come back. And now you're in this agreement, you're in this like covenant with this demonic spirit, to where every time that a trauma comes back, because it didn't actually last, it didn't actually fully heal you, but now you believe that since it healed a little bit, you have to keep going, and you just didn't quite get there all the way. And so now you just need to do the next ceremony. So then you do the next ceremony, you give another offering through your purge, you get another false temporary sense of relief. It lasts for a while, and then it comes back again. The pain comes back again. Now it's time for you to do the next ceremony. And you just end up on this vicious cycle. And I know many people, myself included, when I started doing ayahuasca, as soon as there was another opportunity to do ayahuasca again, I felt like I had to do it. I felt like I absolutely needed to do it. This isn't the same for everybody. Sometimes people go a year or 2 years without feeling like they need to do it again. But there is this common theme of like, you know, now you've entered into this relationship, this covenant with the ayahuasca spirit. Again, people in the New Age won't use that term covenant, but they will feel like, you know, they've entered into this bond, this relationship with the ayahuasca spirit. And now every time that it's, you know, they feel like something is coming up again, it's time for them to go back into that ayahuasca space. And this is a demonic covenant. You are offering your purges. You're poisoning yourself essentially by taking the ayahuasca, like on a very practical level, and you're purging, you're throwing up, you're going through this agonizing experience, but then it's giving you a false sense of healing, because demons have to offer you something to get you to come back, right? And that's exactly what happens in ayahuasca. It gives you a temporary sense of relief, only for you to feel like you need to come back again once the problem gets worse. And I know that I personally have had experiences where I have seen extremely demonic encounters where the mask was taken off. They were no longer masquerading as an angel of light. I saw real demons that were attempting to take my life in these spaces. I'm not the only one who has experienced this sort of thing. There are so many people who have come out saying that they've experienced demonic things in ayahuasca ceremonies, because you are opening yourself up into a realm that we are not meant to go into. We are not meant to be going into these spaces, and it's just not necessary. The healing that you're actually looking for comes from God. It comes from Jesus Christ, and you do not need to take ayahuasca. You do not need to throw up all night in order to heal. You do not need to go into these deep, dark spaces in the spiritual realm in order to heal yourself, because you can't heal yourself. Only God can heal you. And these plants, they can't heal you either. Again, only God can heal you. And these things are, you know, being promoted as like, once you do your ayahuasca, you're super spiritual and you're going to be healed and it's going to be amazing. It's going to fix you so much more. It's going to do everything that you've been trying to do through all of these other modalities. Once you do ayahuasca, it's going to just be this like pill that fixes everything. But it's not. It actually is an opening into a covenant relationship with the demonic realm, where you are perpetually going into these ceremonies, giving your offerings through your purges, and in exchange getting a false sense of healing that keeps you deeper and deeper reliant on these substances, on the ayahuasca. And so I hope that this illuminates to you like the truth about these things. This is coming from someone who has done these ceremonies many, many times. I'm not just saying this as someone who like doesn't know what they're talking about. Like, I have experienced this stuff. I have done ayahuasca many times, and I promise you it cannot give you even close to the amount of healing that Jesus Christ can. So seek Jesus instead, and that is going to be so much better for you. I promise.